So turned out to be pretty entertaining game. When going into it, I had kind of low expectations. Was just kind of thinking Ohio State's gonna dump truck Notre Dame, but that first drive, Notre Dame came out swinging, made it seem like it was going to be a pretty big dogfight, and then Ohio State turns around and they look like they're about to run away with it, but then the Fighting Irish turn it back around and live up to their name and fought back and actually got within 8 near the end and chance to win the game. So I was sweating there for a minute, because we all picked Ohio State. Didn't want to miss on that one.
Yeah, I think this game played out a lot exactly how we thought it was going to. The Ohio State talent obviously won out in the end, but early on, Notre Dame came out on that first drive, a 10-minute drive to open the game, 18 plays. And it was what we kind of said. We said if Notre Dame stood a chance in this game, a couple things were going to have to happen. One was they were going to have to control the clock, keep Ohio State off the field. And that opening drive, it certainly looked like they were going to try to do that. But what it turned out to be is that the only time in the game when they actually could run the ball. One of the major things for Notre Dame all season has been this running attack, and it was non-existent in this game. On the first drive, Riley Leonard had a couple of nice runs, including a run where he scored there at the end, but he looked gassed. And based on the reports, it said that he went over to the sidelines right after he scored that touchdown and puked all over the place. So he certainly was. But after that opening drive, Notre Dame just couldn't run the ball at all. I mean, they hardly even tried. I think Riley Leonard had 17 carries in the game, but when you only give 7 carries to Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love, I don't know if Love was still hurt. The lingering knee issues was a problem, but they really didn't try to establish it at all on the ground. And I think that put them at a disadvantage to what they wanted to do in the game.
Right. Ohio State took away the thing that they do best, right? And as a defense, that's usually, the MO. And if you can pull it off, you are probably going to win. But yeah, that first drive was super impressive. I mean, they just marched down, moved the Notre Dame defensive line. And, I was thinking, man, Riley Leonard was getting beat up on that drive. And I think I texted you this, that, if they keep running Riley Leonard, he's going to get hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just like he got hurt and banged up there in the Penn State game. I thought for sure if they kept him going at that pace, he was gonna be dead. And I mean, shoot, he was puking on the sideline. He was certainly fatigued a little bit after that. But with no help from the rest of his rushing attack, a lot of the game kind of fell on him.
Yeah, and he delivered. He did his part, rushing, and he had a good night throwing the ball. But if you don't have a running game, it's hard to win.
Yeah. And when you're playing a team like Ohio State, especially, after that opening touchdown drive, Ohio State went right down the field, and it looked easy. Whereas Notre Dame's 18-play drive was very methodical. Quarterback runs, getting to third downs, converting. The Ohio State drive to open the game was all too easy, highlighted by that little touchdown pass to Jeremiah Smith. And Notre Dame got the ball back, and they could do nothing. As a matter of fact, over their next 4 drives, they had a grand total of 11 yards. And that is when Ohio State just opened up a can of whoop ass on them there for the next 2.5 quarters, pretty much.
Yeah, it did seem like Ohio State was going to run away with it. And props to Ohio State. They did exactly what we said they needed to do. Keep Will Howard clean. And when they did that, he was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Will Howard started the game 11 of 11, and I think I tweeted out that maybe old Grayson Lambert was getting a little bit nervous about his NCAA record for pass completion in the game, but ultimately I think, Will Howard had 4 or 5 incompletions, so Grayson Lambert, you're safe at least for one more day. But Howard had a great game, and Judkins had a great game. He had 3 touchdowns. He broke off a long 70-yard run, but he looked like he was out of gas because it looked like he was in the clear and 3 guys ran him down, and he looked tired.
Oh, he got ran down.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised with that because I thought he was a little bit more of a burner. But he had 3 touchdowns in the game, 2 rushing, one receiving. So a good game for the money they spent to bring him in from Ole Miss.
Yeah, that was very impressive performance by him. It was an impressive performance by that Ohio State offensive line. Notre Dame's front seven had no answers. They couldn't stop the run. They definitely couldn't get to the quarterback. Just wasn't the same performance that we've seen them have throughout the rest of the playoff.
Yeah, they certainly didn't push Ohio State's offensive line around like they did Georgia's. That's for sure. But, Ohio State was kind of running away with the game, and for all intents and purposes, I thought it was over. And then Notre Dame had that little comeback in the second half. Jaden Greathouse, man, what a game that guy had. He made a couple of phenomenal catches. He had both their touchdown catches, including one where he made Caleb Downs miss a tackle, which is not something you see very often this season for arguably one of the best defensive players in all of college football. But Notre Dame did have something very questionable happen toward the end of this game. They had scored a touchdown, got a 2. They were within 16, and they drove down to the Ohio State 9-yard line, I think, and it was a 4th down with about 9 minutes to go, and they made the decision to kick a field goal. And this was not a good decision. I don't know if, these newer coaches are so married to those metric sheets like Kirby, going for 2 in that one game. But man, it was a bad decision. And Mitch Jeter choked. So all those good things I said about Mitch Jeter the last few weeks, forget all that. The guy choked when it mattered most, and he missed a chippy.
Yeah, that call was a bit of a head scratcher. I think it threw everybody off just with where it was at the moment in the game. But I guess he was thinking, okay, I'm going to try to take points and trust my defense. And, as the game played out, honestly, he was almost right. Yeah, if he actually made that field goal, then that last touchdown drive that they were trying to get, that would have won the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, I think it's just it's a weird decision. You all season long, they were kind of aggressive. They went for it on 4th down early in the game. They went for a fake punt that failed in this game. So they'd played aggressive a lot throughout the game, but then when the decision was you're down 16, you've got to the 9 because Ohio State fumbled, which was their only turnover in the whole game. Feels like you kind of got to try to take advantage of that. It's the national championship game. What do you have to lose? But they didn't. And, hindsight's 2020, could look back and say, yeah, they maybe should have went for it, but they didn't. And they still weren't dead at that point, though. Notre Dame got another touchdown out of Greathouse, and they got the 2 again. They ran a little trick play that was kind of sweet to get the 2.
They just wouldn't die.
They just wouldn't die. But then, Ohio State had a drive. They were moving the ball a little bit, and then it was a 3rd down. And another kind of questionable coaching decision, I think, on 3rd down and long, after 2 Will Howard runs, which were not good play calls, in my opinion. They sit the house on 3rd down and left a guy one-on-one with Jeremiah Smith, which was not good. Jeremiah Smith made a huge catch, and Ohio State kicked a field goal, and ultimately they won the game, 34-23.
Yeah, you can't leave Jeremiah Smith wide open or one-on-one at any point in time. He's too good. You've got to get double team, bracket him, whatever it takes. Because I don't think there is a corner out in college football right now that can cover him at all.
No, I don't think there is. And I mean, even the guy that was on him on that play, Garcia, he was the guy who made the interception the week before versus Penn State. But it was just too much to cover that guy one-on-one. And, Chip Kelly saw it. And I think somebody even said that they kind of baited them into the formation they had, they'd ran out of already. It was just it was a good play call, and they got the coverage they wanted, and you had the right guy out there. So Ohio State wins their 2nd national championship in the college football playoff era. Of course, they won the first college football playoff back when the 14 playoff started in 2014. And here we are, the first year of the 12-team playoff, and Ohio State is your champion once again.
Yep. Congrats to Ohio State. A lot of happy Buckeyes out there. There were a absolute ton of Ohio State fans in Atlanta yesterday. I mean, that stadium was probably 70-30. I know my father-in-law was there. He ran into Archie Griffin and got a picture with him. So that was pretty cool. And it was funny because I was walking with Jess and she asked me, "Oh, is he good?" I said, he's the only 2-time Heisman winner. Yeah, I think he's okay.
He's pretty good.
She's like, "Oh."
Yeah, I saw that the airport was a total wreck this morning. Like, I guess the combination of Martin Luther King Day and the national championship and lots of people flying out, the airport was just a total wreck this morning with people leaving. So,
yep. So again, congrats to Ohio State. So I think Ohio State ended up finishing the season the way everybody thought that they were going to play throughout the season. But they had a few places where they tripped up and they were able to take advantage of the new 12-team format, because in any other format they're out, and Ryan Day is probably out of a job. Yeah. So congrats to them.
Talent won out at the end. It took that loss to Michigan to kind of kick them in the tail and realize that they just needed to go out there and play. I think this Ohio State team had some similarities to the Georgia team in 2021 that lost the SEC championship game to Alabama, because they tried to do some different things schematically with that dominant defense. And when they played Alabama again in that national championship game, they kind of scrapped it and just went back and let those defensive players that were uber talented play. And they shut Alabama down for most of the game. And I think you saw that a little bit with Ohio State here. When they played Michigan, they tried to match Michigan's physicality and run the ball. And, Notre Dame's kind of similar in that vein. And here they just let their talent go out there and play. They took advantage of their receivers, their playmakers that they brought in, and just overpowered a team that just at the end of the day didn't have quite as much talent as they did.